Hey there. We've been talking about how stress is a physical response un uh, to an unexpected stimulus, right? And it is. So, what do you think is the best way to combat stress? You got it. Using physical measures. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Stress Talk Live. And we'll be there in just a moment. Hi there, I'm Marcyline Bailey, and I am your host for Stress Talk Live. This is the place where we help women over 40 live healthier lives through strategic stress management and solution focused self care. Hey, I'm glad you're with me today because we're going to talk about 4 specific strategies that women can use if they embrace them to lower their workplace stress. Actually, they'll be able to lower stress wherever they are, when whatever environment they're in, whatever they're doing, whatever they're working on, if they embrace these 4 strategies. I've talked about how stress is a physical response to an unspecified stimulus. That is the definition of stress. Yes, it's a physical response. We often think that stress is um, more mental, more emotional than it is physical, but it is physical. Think about a car engine. When we have our car on and the stick shift is in park, the car is running at a certain RPM, revolutions, the engine actually is running a certain revolutions per minute, RPMs, right? And it's pretty steady. It is steady as long as the car is sitting still and it's in park, or it could be in neutral. Either way, if it's in neutral or if it's in park, the engine is running smoothly. There's no up or down, it's just smoothly. That is how we are when we are chill, when nothing is happening, when we're just hanging out, maybe listening to music, maybe doing things that we like reading, cooking, running, or jogging. Our stress level is even, it doesn't fluctuate very much. But think about this. Once you get in the car and you put it in reverse or in drive so that it's moving, as soon as you press on the gas, there's an acceleration and the engine starts working harder. The more gas you give it, right? The more you press on the gasoline pedal, the more gas you give it, the harder the engine is going to work. So, if we're like this and we're pressing, our engine is like this, it's very smooth, and then we press on the gas, there's going to be vroom. The engine is going to vroom, right? The RPMs are going to increase and it's going to run at a higher level. Once we ease off the gas, it may go back to its steady pace that fluctuates a little bit, but it's not that initial vroom, right? Now, when we have to come to a stop sign, we start taking our foot off the gas pedal and then we put it on the brake, and then the car starts slowing down, the engine starts slowing down because the engine, we're not at that point not giving the engine a lot of gasoline to get it to go real fast or real hard. And so the car just kind of settles down and comes to a stop. That's how it is with our bodies when we experience stress. We go up when things are really stressful because it's almost like putting fuel to the fire or giving ourselves gas, pressing on that gas pedal, right? But also when we take our foot off the gas and we start pumping the brake or putting our foot on the brake, then things start settling down for us. Now, what is unique about this when we're talking about, while I'm making a comparison between a car engine and our stress levels, when our car works best when we take good care of it. And so we have to make sure that we are getting the oil changed regularly. We're using a certain type of gasoline that really works well for our car. That we make sure that the air filter is clean, because that's how the car works more, is more fuel efficient. There are things that we have to do to make sure that the car is running well. Likewise with our bodies. If we are not doing those things that helps our bodies to run best, then stress can take a harder toll on us, not just mentally, not just emotionally, but physically. It takes a toll. And this is what I want to talk about today. I want to share some strategies with you that will encourage you to take good care of your physical self, because when we are physically resilient, we can reduce the stress that we experience and we can manage stress better. When we are not physically resilient, it's much harder and stress takes a toll on us. So let's get started after I've talked for almost 8 minutes. Let's get started. But first, yes, I have to share with you to like, follow, and subscribe to ML Bailey Consultants on Instagram, Facebook, as well as YouTube. Here's the tap link. Now, I've added something new to the tap link. There is a Substack on Taplink. I'm building a Substack, and the first article is up. I'll be posting the second article this week. So make sure you check out the Substack. It is called Days That Matter. Days That Matter. Then, as you know, this is my website right here. You can check me out there. But what are we talking about today? We are talking about 4 effective strategies that women can embrace to see lower workplace stress. All right, let's talk about the first strategy, okay? Let's do that. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just pop them into the comment section and I will respond when I can. All right, first thing, listen to your body. Now, I know most of you out there are going to say, well, I do listen to my body. I know my body better than anybody else. That's right. I'm sure that you do know your body better than anyone else, and I applaud you for knowing that. But let's be real. As we get older, we have a tendency to ignore some things. We ignore signs and symptoms because it makes us uncomfortable. What if there's something that's going on with my body that I don't want to know? It's important for us, however, to listen to our body and then to act on what we are noticing, what we are hearing, as well as what we are seeing. Now, for women over 40, especially women who have hit their 50s, who may be premenopausal or menopausal, Hormones are crazy, right? They go up and down. Sometimes I feel like they go sideways, like a windshield wiper, like this. They go sideways. And then sometimes they're all kitty wampus. They're like all crazy. And our hormones can send us into a state where we are more susceptible to stress. And stress, again, is a physical response to an unspecified stimulus. So, if you feel as if you are having, if your hormones are all kitty wampus, all crazy, and there it is affecting you ex- severely, you want to talk to your primary care physician, your your family nurse practitioner to get some help with that. Because again, our as a matter of fact, our stress response is controlled and managed by our hormones. There are hormones that are released that cause us to go into fight or flight. So when our all of our hormones are out of whack, yeah, I said out of whack. I did. I said out of whack. Sorry about that. But when they are, because that's how we feel, out of whack, when our hormones are out of whack, it can affect our stress response. So we want to work very closely with our medical provider so that we can get everything back the way it should be, so that we feel better, and so that again we can manage our stress and that stress response in a better way. We also want to just be aware of our metabolism as well as our energy levels. Now, I've been working with, I've been working on myself for several years and trying to, wanting to be healthy. And so I've been thinking about metabolism. As we get older, our metabolism starts to slow, but it doesn't have, I mean, it does start to slow, but we can counteract that by being more active. Because not only does our metabolism start to slow down, we're not as active as we once were. I mean, think about it. When you were 10 years old, you're probably nonstop. I was going, I was playing, I was riding my bike, I was running around, I was doing all kinds of stuff, physical things. When I was in my 20s, I was partying. So I was out on the dance floor at least a couple times a week. Yep, I was. I was out there jamming. Weren't you too? Drop me a note if you were. Just put it in the comments. Just say, I was too. I was too. More active. As I got older with family, I wasn't as active, right? Now I am I'm becoming more aware of my metabolism because it has slowed down, but I'm also more aware of my energy levels. I don't want to, I know you can take vitamins and supplements to improve your energy levels, and I'm trying to do that naturally. When we are more active, physically active, we are more energetic. We do have more energy. But as we're listening to our bodies, we also need to just be aware of where our metabolism is and our energy levels so that we can do something about it. And then last but not least, when I'm talking about listening to your body, get your checkup. Make sure you're seeing your medical professional on a regular basis. Get that checkup. Go to the doctor. Don't put it off. Get your annual screening. And then if you're having some issues or concerns, go see your medical provider. Why? Because when you are stressed out, your body's immune system just doesn't work the way it should. It doesn't work at its optimal level. So you want to make sure that you are as healthy as you can be. And if there are concerns, those can be addressed in a proper way. So, number one, these are strategies, y'all. I know it sounds like I'm having a conversation with my best friend, but it is a strategy. Listen to your body and then act on what you hear. The next strategy is to get up and move. Move that body, move that body, move that body, move that body. Hey, move that body. Okay. Yes, move that body. I have been working with a fitness trainer, and I'm in my second year of working with a fitness trainer. Before I was married, I worked out with, I went to the gym and I worked out with a fitness trainer doing weights. Yeah. Now I have, made a commitment to myself to work out with a fitness trainer. Why? Because my fitness trainer helps me to be consistent. We always talk about working out, and the thing about working out is you have to be consistent in order for those benefits to take place and to stay. And so I've made that choice. I've made the investment in myself to work out with a fitness trainer. Now, some of um, you may not be able to do that because of time or whatever. Do a fitness app. There are plenty of them. Go to your app store and you can download a fitness app. Now, many of the fitness apps you have to pay, they offer a free version and then they offer a paid version. Do what works for you. But there are fitness apps out there that are free and that will help you to stay consistent when and moving. If not an app or if not a fitness trainer, then the best workout that anyone can prescribe is walking. Walk. Get away from your desk and move. Walk. I know there are people who work and they have to be on their feet all the time. I get that. Walk, march in place. You want to have that physical activity. Not only that, do exercises that are very gentle on the joints. Yoga is an exercise that is very gentle on the joints. Also, Tai Chi is very gentle on the joints. Tai Chi is a marvelous exercise I wouldn't call it an exercise, but for simplicity's sake, it is marvelous. And it's geared for anybody can do it, especially older women can do Tai Chi. There's also chair yoga. The point I'm trying to make is move. Sitting, if we sit, our bodies will get stiff, our joints get stiff, our muscles are stiff, and it makes it harder for us to move. And when it's harder for us to move, it's harder for us to release stress, which is a physical response to an unspecified stimulus. So, the second strategy is move. The third strategy, aren't these simple? They are simple, right? They're very simple and they're probably reminders. When we do all of these concurrently, that's when we get the best benefit. The third strategy that I'm suggesting to you is to eat to live, as opposed to living to eat. Now, I am saying this, and I'm going to be very upfront with you. I enjoy food, and there was a time in my life not too long ago when I was living to eat. I mean, living to eat because I love food and I love sweets, cakes, and pies and ice cream. And I live in an area where I have friends who can cook. They're just good cooks. And I have a good friend who bakes cakes. And those are the best cakes in the world. They are. They're really the best cakes in the world. She uses all natural ingredients. And none of it is good for you. I shouldn't say they're not good. It's not good for you. It's good in moderation. I just couldn't do it in moderation. As a result, I gained so much weight over a period of time that it slowly affected my health. Several years ago, I started working with a licensed dietitian who is also a registered nutritionist. And she has helped me to lose 30 pounds. I'm so happy about that. Lose 30 pounds. And I'm working on losing 10 more. Kind of stuck. I'm stuck in plateaued. So I'm trying some different things to try to lose those additional 10 pounds. Eating to live doesn't mean that you can't enjoy food, but what it means is you're very aware of what you are eating, what you are taking in. We eat a lot of fatty foods, and we eat a lot of foods full of sugar. Everything we eat for the most part has sugar in it. If it's processed, it has sugar. If it's processed, it has salt. If it's frozen, like those frozen prepared meals have tons of salt in them. So we need to be aware of what we're eating, what we're ingesting in our bodies. Because again, stress is a physical response to an unspecified stimulus. And because it's physical, we build resilience by doing physical things. And that includes watching what we eat. Prep, do meal prep for the week. Do a meal plan so that you know what you're going to have and you're not stopping at the quickest fast food place or the place on the way home. Prep your meals. Also, read labels. This is my down and dirty. Read labels because um, you'd be surprised what you'll find in foods, in prepared foods that you would not have expected. You know that fish that you like, it might have some kind of coloring in it that is not natural to the fish if you caught it yourself. It's the way it is. So, or you have genetically modified foods, GMOs, genetically modified. So you want to read those labels to make sure that what you're ingesting is actually good for you. That's what I'm saying when I say eat to live. I'm not saying you can't have ice cream anymore or cake anymore, as long as you eat it in moderation and you're aware of what you're eating so that you can do what is the healthiest for you so that you can maintain low stress levels. So, we've talked about three strategies. We're talking about our topic is four effective strategies women embrace to see lower workplace stress. And when we've talked about that, we've talked about listening to your body. We've talked about getting up and move, 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 move. I know, I can't help it. Just had to do it. And then we talked about eating to live. Finally, what is another strategy that will help you to lower your stress levels and maintain low workplace stress? Boom. It is, where is it? Rest well. That's kind of not what I wanted it to do. Let's see if I can make it do something different here. Yeah, let's do that. Ta-da! Rest well. You want to rest well. Okay, so yes, I'm a woman over 40, and I know women over 40 Some of us don't rest well. Why? Because we're either hot or we're cold or we've broken out in a cold sweat. We can't get comfortable. It takes us forever to fall asleep. Then, when we fall asleep, we wake up and then we can't go back to sleep. I've been there, and I know other women who have also. I did a series called Happy People Rest Well. And I'm actually going to update that series because it's actually, that series may be about 10 years old now. I think I will update that. However, there are some things that we can do to help us set the stage for a good night's sleep. One thing is to have a consistent bedtime scheduled. And when I talk about a consistent bedtime, our bodies actually start shutting down about 4 hours, 2 hours before we actually go to bed. So if my bedtime is 10 o'clock, my body is going to start preparing itself starting around 8. And it's almost like a computer that shuts down, goes through its process to shut down. Our body goes through a process to prepare us for sleep. What we tend to do, however, is we ignore those signs that we're sleepy. Like we're yawning, and we have to stretch. Oh, if we're yawning, that's a sign that we're getting ready to fall asleep. Our body's preparing us to go to sleep. If we get clumsy, that's a sign that our bodies are preparing to go to sleep. You might bump into something when you're really sleepy or tired. That's why people stub their toe because they're tired. They're sleepy. Our bodies start to shut down 2 hours, right? So if you set a regular bedtime, whatever that time is, your body's going to start shutting itself down, getting ready to go to sleep. And by the time that time comes around, you can lie down and your body's like, yeah, we can go to sleep now. So you want a set bedtime. Also, don't feel bad if you're going to sleep earlier than you used to. I'm part of that generation that used to stay up partying all night and then get up and go to work the next day. Actually, I've gone some nights where I've partied all night. I've gotten home in time to not go to sleep because I knew if I went to sleep, I would have a hard time waking up, and just stayed up, went to work, came home and went to sleep. So what I'm saying is this: don't feel bad that you can't do that anymore. I certainly don't feel bad. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to stay up all night anymore. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I have a set bedtime. And my set bedtime is, I'm not going to tell you what my set bedtime is. But I'm going to tell you. My set bedtime is 9:30. I aim to be in bed by 9:30. Now, I may not fall asleep until 10 o'clock, but I'm in bed most nights, the majority of nights, by 9:30. That's my goal. Because when I get up at 5 o'clock the next day, I feel well rested because I got up, because I went to bed that early. So don't feel like you have to stay up. I mean, you can get the news anytime. You don't have to stay up until 11 o'clock to see the news anymore. So have your set bedtime. The other thing is, have a consistent sleep routine. Now, that routine also signals to your body that it's ready to go to sleep, that it's almost that time. And your routine can be whatever you want it to be, but you want to have a consistent sleep routine that prepares your body to go to sleep. Last but not least, this is the last thing. Get rid of the blue light, having televisions on, looking at your phone. I keep wanting to pick my phone up, but I have it charging. Looking at your phone, those blue lights are not good. It stimulates the brain. So if you want to be able to fall asleep quickly, stay asleep, avoid using your phone, being on your tablet, watching TV a couple of hours, an hour or two before you go to bed. Now, I know some of us read and we read on a tablet. That's also a blue light. So you want to just be aware of that. So ditch the blue lights if you can. It will help you to fall asleep. Now, here's the last but not least. Science has told us, researchers have told us that we sleep better in cooler temperatures. And there's also, I saw an article the other day that suggested that cooler temperatures actually help us to stay healthier. So you want to be aware of the temperature in the room and try to make sure that you are dressed in a way that you're not overheating when you're in the bed, when you're asleep, because we sleep better when it's cooler. Science says that. But overall, if you're more comfortable under your 20 comforters and you sleep better that way, go for what you know. Just go for what you know. So again, we've been talking about 4 effective strategies women embrace to see lower workplace stress. We've talked about listening to your body and acting on what you hear. We've talked about moving. If nothing else, make sure you're walking every day and being consistent with your workouts so that you can be healthier. Also, we talked about eating to live as opposed to living to eat and being aware of what we ingest and take into our bodies. And then finally, resting well. And I gave you some suggestions for that. And that includes having an established bedtime, also having a consistent sleep routine, ditching the blue lights a couple hours, an hour, couple hours before your bedtime, and making sure the room is cooler because researchers are telling us that we sleep better in cooler temperatures. Well, that's all for now, y'all. I'm so glad that you joined me today. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the 4 effective strategies women embrace to see lower workplace stress. Well, that's all for now. I'm glad you joined me. I'm Marcyline Bailey. Take good care.